thing that's going to be turned in officially for that assessment. And if it's a paper, we might ask you for an artifact. So you'll turn in a paper along with whatever the rubric you're using or something. But we want to clearly identify one per this way. I'm talking about. You can use this way. You can use this.
You can add other assessment tools that you want as an instructor that isn't listed here. But this is what is going to be the standard, the same across instructors, so that we can compare data among people.
So if we've got a 60-page
Project, yeah.
you're gonna collect those?
No, not all, no. We want your rubric, however you grade it. The rubric would be the data we collect, so that's the data part. But HLC does want a few artifacts, so eventually we'll say, okay, could we have maybe an exemplar paper and a middle.
That's all we have.
Right. So you just give us one paper and we put it in as an artifact. We don't want all of them. We'll have to identify sometimes, oh, can you give us an artifact? Because I want to see some examples. You know how they do when they come in. Can we see
The evidence.
Evidence.
It's the evidence.
But a lot of your data is going to be your scores.
Your rubric or scores.
Just your scores.
Is the data on the 60-page project that we will then be looking at to say, oh my gosh, all of our students are doing really well on that objective, on that assessment. So it's just the score.
And how you use it in K through 12, how they do data teams, that's where I think we're heading with this. And if all of us are teaching this same course and we're all giving our students this quiz, and my students are bombing it time after time, and your students are doing great at it, then that's when we collaboratively get together and say, oh, what are you doing that I can learn from to help my students achieve higher on this assessment tool?
Sherry,
Yeah.
do the quizzes have to be the same across instructors if you're trying to do
The assessment has to be the same.
So if I say I'm using quizzes like you use here, then you're going to share those quizzes
Yes.
with the lead instructor?
Yes, it has to be the same.
Maybe you should articulate quiz A or quiz chapter 1 or quiz.
We could do that.
Let me just add something here to help what you just asked for. Okay, so you're creating a master. Your master will, once the master's made, and once you decide on the quote, these goals and objectives, and you will do the credit hour calculator. You as the master will be doing that. So to do that, you have certain amount of lectures listed, quizzes listed, tests, whatever it is, whatever you're doing. So you have to make those up. So you're making a master of what's going to be used to grade that. Okay, and we'll talk about the out.
Yeah, so it would be better to say quiz A or.
But let me finish here. Okay, so
quiz
the idea
1.
is that master will be copied. Say Cindy's the master. I'm going to teach her course. I get her master shell. I must teach and do whatever's in that master shell. Well, in her assignments I'm talking about. If I want to add assignments, fine. You cannot take away anything that's set up as a measurement. You must use whatever's there. You can't change it. Now you can add, you can develop other things that aren't part of that master development thing. So when she says that, the quiz that you were asking, Alicia, everyone would get that same quiz.
And I can't really write right now, but I think we could also do it like week 6 quiz.
There you go, yeah.
Or week 4 article review. I think that would be better. And then, hang on, Sharon had a question here real quick.
No, it kind of went, everybody was saying, we did this in K through 12 all the time.
Yeah.
That's how we did curriculum all the time. And you would have all kinds of activities, but you needed to have one.
For data
Yeah,
collection.
yeah.
And then Erica, you had a question?
I have a question for us that teaches with a 0 credit hour, and for field experience, for example, we meet 4 times, but we have a few objectives. They have one project that they complete and that's it, but here you're requesting to have 5 objectives.
Do they have steps? Well, you don't have to have
You wouldn't
5.
have
5's the
in
most.
You can have it.
0 credit class. Not that.
Jim?
If you use a quiz, and since that's becoming evidence, I would assume every instructor has to use the same quiz.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
For that one, like quiz 6, you said, or whatever.
Like week 6 quiz.
So you'd all
And
use the same
everybody
quiz.
has to use the exact same
Yeah.
rubric if it's a project.
Yes.
Yeah, if it's going to be used as
The
evidence,
assessment.
Yes.
Okay, so when we do quizzes, do we need to write up like several forms of it, or how do you do that?
No, it would be the same quiz, same questions, same rubric.
Our integrity is talking about if your students, and then I teach Jim's class, it's like, oh, here's the quick, I guess it would
It
have to be
happens,
online or.
it happens in K through 12 all the time. You have to be conscientious and,
Where do you put this quiz? You said the master syllabus is available for students.
Okay,
I didn't know that.
We do, no, I gotta admit, we're not that far yet. Right now, we wanna get the alignments and what you wanna use. Collecting it's a whole different answer right now. We do not have that even worked out because it's gonna be part of some form of baseline or part of the campus labs, and we're not there, so we don't know. I don't know the answer to that, Mary Ann. Right
Like
now,
to have
the
a
best I got the
storehouse
answer
where
to,
they're-
you give something in paper, like you all just take here's quiz 6, it's a piece of paper, fill it out and hand it to me, then we're gonna have to figure out how to get the data. Until we know how we could do it electronically at all, we don't really have that.
I think the challenge right now, Tim, is it's particularly problematic for Ed Division, because we're so large, and
Right.
there's so many people, so many
Right, I
adjuncts that we
know,
don't
I-
communicate with,
Yeah.
that teach our classes, that
Where's all this gonna come
Is that a true
from?
reality that we're all going to give the same quiz? This is the way we need to be thinking
Yeah.
and moving toward. We don't know what it all looks like yet.
okay, for the,
One more question.
Yeah, Tim, you mentioned credit hour calculus.
Uh-huh.
Is that based on these evidence, on these particular rubrics? In other
No,
words,
it's based on what you're doing.
What you're
in the
currently
classroom.
doing now.
it will be based on the whole, not
Yeah,
just.
not these, no, on the whole,
Correct.
on the whole.
Okay,
Correct.
because I was thinking you were going to.
No.
No, no,
Okay,
no,
I got it.
no.
Okay,
Sorry,
it's
go ahead.
10:20.
okay, we're gonna move on. Okay, so now I'm going to answer Alicia's question that she had earlier. We have 2 2s, 2 5s, and a 9 that we went through on these objectives. We have our assessments already there. So now we need to move over to the MOSB program objectives. For your course, you're gonna go to your ISLIC standards or your counselor standards, whatever yours are. But for practice, MOSB's for this course. So here is what you do. You take, I'm going to show you the one I filled out. You're going to fill in whichever course you have. Just put it in that box when you get your sheet. And then what I did over on the side, I looked over here which of mine had MOSB number 2, and it was my objectives 2 and 5. Can you see that? It's kind of hard to see right here. And I just wrote that over the side because it just made it visually easier for me to come up with that. So I have 2 of my objectives that are meeting this MOSB standard. Well, wait a minute, over here I had 2 different assessments. So what am I going to do? You have to pick one that you think best meets it. I chose strategy implementation 1 because we're getting more specific, and that is how we should do. So you just have to pick which one best fits now the MOSB standard. As the lead instructor, you make that decision.
You're picking the best objective or you're picking the best assignment?
Assess the best assessment. But if you look over here, objectives 2 and 5, see how this one meets it? Over here is 2 and 5. 2, I had strategy implementation, and then 5 was an article review. Well, I looked at those 2 assignments that I have, or assessments, and then I looked at what it states here, and for my course, I feel the strategy implementation best fit here versus the article review. So you have to choose one of those assessments.
So you're going to use it twice then? Because you're
Yes, for
meeting
data, because we have to give data for the program.
So if you're meeting the objective twice, you're going to use the same measure twice?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Good
You don't
question.
replicate it.
And same thing with number 5. We had 2 for number 5. So I just wrote on here which objectives were there, 1 and 3, and then I had to choose which of those 2 assessments best fit this one. And then we had a number 9, and that's my objective 4, and that's where I put the same assessment that I had over here, which is the final course. This is the first thing that you're going to do when you align it.
Will there be some kind of check to see what those master assessments will look like across courses? Because one of my concerns is, as a person that teaches multiple courses, it's always the article review, or it's always the same thing. And we need to really make sure we're assessing on multiple platforms, in my opinion.
That will
our
come in time.
students.
That's my goal, is this data comes in and we
Okay.
start to see, we're
It's
doing all
always-
article reviews for 4
Exactly.
years.
We
for
need
these
to
students. Yeah.
differentiate that's
That's
Okay,
the
but that's
data
not
that-
our.
That's where we're
position.
headed.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we're headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that question, but you know,
Yeah.
when we hear from the other divisions, you guys are great because you're already getting way deep they're still at the level of, we don't even know what we're doing. Let's go, great.
Piggyback on her question, what about if we find everyone is measuring the same OSB standard?
So that's a serious
And
problem.
Is that
That's
we'll
what we're gonna
address?
find out.
That's this whole curriculum map, I mean, it's
So are you going to be the person overseeing that?
Yes, that's what I'm excited to use this campus labs, and as these data pieces start coming in, your director, you as a director of special ed courses, you'll start to see within the special ed courses and those, any special ed student in that program, there are gaps and holes, and then as, I'll notice divisional issues, and we'll get to that. in a
But there
minute.
really aren't gaps and holes because we had to select one of the three. We just have to go back and re-choose a different one.
That's one, two,
Possibly,
and a
yes,
seven.
yes.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly it'll be that easy,
So
hopefully.
you'll be communicating with this whole group on every one of us in terms of.
Eventually. My hope is there will be a dashboard that I'll have using this software system that shows us in a methodical way what's going on.
Okay.
Because that grid you look at over there, she sees over there, if you put your course, if you put your X's where you're doing your things, we should have a total going this way and a total at the bottom. There should be ones at least in every one of them. So that's what you're asking, and then, yeah,
That's
every
exactly
one
what I'm
should be.
asking.
Yep.
Or we have like 5 of them measure, 5 courses measuring one thing and only one course measuring.
Right,
another.
and that should come out
Exactly.
on that grid that
I think
Sherry
there
has.
needs to be some balance, I don't know
Yep.
how. Thank you, Melanie, for doing all that.
We'll see how it all goes.
Is this the form we're gonna use, or if we want to, in our own programs, develop a spreadsheet, or an Excel spreadsheet that stair steps all of these